the amount of money we're talking about now, in terms of 50 billion to round it up, 50 billion, is there any possibility, any likelihood that 50 billion would not have been remitted and the CBN might not?
No. I think it's very, very unfortunate that you have a lot of chartered accountants in CBN and you have a lot of chartered accountants in NNPC and they couldn't get into congruency. What is happening? Because I analyze a lot of this. When you come to even total production, national production between January 2012 and July 2013, based on CBN, right, Nigeria produced almost, 1.28 billion, and NNPC, said they produced 1.33 billion. They're now narrowing down to the NNPC. CBN said NNPC produced, about slightly less than 595 million, and NNPC produced about slightly less than 620. So in terms of the revenue that was coming down, now NNPC reported 67 billion, while 67, while CBN reported 65. And I can tell you, when you start breaking them down, you will later notice that what was reported by NNPC had to do with what I can tell you called the equity crude, because royalty has to do with what comes to you by virtue of your endowment of the land in which that hydrocarbon is endowed, and that one is supposed to go to DPR account.
Okay, Saka, when we say that, based on what you're saying now, NNPC is saying what is being made in terms of money accruing to them for 2012 is about 67 billion. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, even higher than
that. Being the case, the CBN said 65 billion.
That's correct.
Does it mean that there is a likelihood that 49 billion out of this amount was not remitted?
No, that's why I'm surprised by these two agencies. It's very strange. That's why I said, when you do the accounting, you have, at the end of the day, everything ends within CBN, but you have different routes. NNPC is equity crude. DPR takes care of royalties. That's what accrues to you by virtue of you being owner of the land in which that endowment is being explored. Then the other one that has to do with the tax, which is levies on production and sales, go through Federal Inland Revenue Service that is still having its own account domicile within CBN.
Based on your knowledge of the accounting part of this, do you think that there's any likelihood that money up to about 50 billion might not have been remitted?
No.
It is not possible.
No. Because even apart from that, you have other bodies that you call third-party financing, that has to do with research and projects, and you have other trial marketing streams that has to do with probably production sharing agreement. Then you have the equivalent of a Nigerian operator under NNPC called the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company. Something also goes to them. Okay. And there was something I also read from CBN, about this, and they were talking about the Nigerian Export Supervisory Scheme. They also mentioned that, to the best of my knowledge, that based on my experience as an oil and gas engineer and chartered accountant, that has to do with pre-inspection agencies that are also being paid as inspectors. The summary is, these agencies are supposed to just sit down together and reconcile. We don't want to see what we have experienced when Nigerian Security and Defense Corps and police will be clashing instead of arresting a crude oil vandal, or the Nigerian Navy clashing, arguing with the Nigerian Army and allowing illegal bunkers to be moving towards the estuaries of Bonny, Forcados and Escravos to get into international waters and go away with our crude oil. Okay. This is simple reconciliation.
Let me check with you. You're a lawyer, and from what Zaka has just been saying, Would you seriously believe that CBN might have made a mistake in their accounting to lead to a situation where there is actually no amount of money such as 50 billion that might be needed to be remitted?
I think my own view in this whole matter is there is a reconciliation issue here. And also, sometimes you find that figures you seem to get different figures from different agencies in some cases. You have situations at times where normally all the producers of crude oil, all the equity owners of crude oil make reports. The IOCs that are operators on behalf of NNPC in most of these concessions make monthly reports to the CBN, to DPR, to the tax authorities, to several agencies of government. Okay? Sometimes my experience is that these figures, they are human beings who work in these places. They make mistakes once in a while probably inputting these figures. So sometimes you find that when you are reconciling, CBN comes with some figures, the operator comes with his own figures.
But there is absolutely no way.
Figures have slight differences.
But if you're talking slight differences, you're talking about 49 billion.
Yeah, but these figures add up at the end of the day, because we're talking about 50 billion over 18, how many months? 19
over 18 months.
Yes.
So let me take this question to Edwin.
Trivializing the matter to say it's a reconciliation issue. Having considered that the CBN has not confirmed what the point is, the CBN has historical records. The central bank has been bankers to this government for a long time, so they're in a position to analyze and know when funds that ought to have come in have not been received. It will be unfortunate to say that the CBN, with all the resources available to it, does not know when funds that ought to have come through DPRO and through whatever other agents of government has not come in. The CBN is aware, and that's why the CBN, before writing that letter, considering like the letter was written, had contacted the other agencies. It is out of frustration, in my view, after having asked for explanations and not having received reasonable explanations, the CBN, in trying to ratchet up the matter to somebody higher so as to direct further investigation, perhaps did it. So in my view, it is beyond reconciliation. It is clear.
It is clear that it was
CBN is unsatisfied that the historical trend of revenues coming to it from the various subheads have not been consistent with their expectation. And the Trade and Exchange Department of Central Bank did analysis and clearly attached a table to the proposal letter to the president saying this is what happened. Can you investigate?